Spring is at its most beautiful right now here in Northumberland. The woods and fields are full of flowers, red campion, bluebells, cuckoo flowers and stitchwort. And the wild garlic is still around, although not for much longer. The leaves, newly revealed, are paper thin and the brightest green that they will be all year. Every May the hawthorn hedges suddenly bloom, great clouds of white blossom appearing almost overnight, bright against the deep spring green. For centuries people across Britain and Ireland called it simply the Mayflower, a tree bound to old festivals, garlands and the turning of the seasons from spring into summer. But hawthorn has always carried a slightly mysterious reputation too. In folklore, solitary hawthorn trees were often believed to belong to fairies, especially those growing near wells, hills or crossroads, and people were careful not to cut them down or disturb them. At the same time, branches of hawthorn were hung above doors and in homes for protection and good fortune. And whether or not you believe in the old folklore, there's something about hawthorn in bloom that does seem to ask you to slow down and pay attention. The blossom only lasts a brief moment and then it's gone again for another year. Hello, welcome back to Blackthorn Cottage. My name's Anna and I'm a flower grower and florist based in Northumberland. I live here with my husband Johnny and my two dogs Frank and Neville, and I love to grow flowers and arrange flowers. And today I've been out, as you saw at the beginning, in the woods picking flowers. And the reason for that is that I want to have a go at, I want to learn how to make herbal tinctures. So it's been something I've been wanting to do for a little while. I watched a documentary a couple of years ago now called Rosemary of the Herbs, I think that's what it's called. And it's about a herbal medicine practitioner called, now, let me see if I can get this right, Juliette de Bec... I knew I wasn't going to be able to say it. Berkeley-Levy? Berkeley-Levy? Juliette de Berkeley-Levy. I think that's her name. I apologise if I'm just totally butchered how you pronounce her name. But I watched this really great documentary. I think it was made in the late 90s. And this woman, and she knew so much about herbal properties of plants, the medicinal properties of plants and how to use them. And she specialised in, particularly in medicine, using herbal medicine with animals, which I thought was really interesting. And ever since watching that documentary, I thought, I really had to have a go at doing that. And so I'm going to give it a go. I am by no means an expert, so please do not use this as a tutorial. There'll be a lot of really good tutorials on YouTube. So yeah, if you're interested, I would really recommend having a watch of some of them. One thing I did really enjoy was I got this book, Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs, A Beginner's Guide. And this has been really, really helpful. So a tincture is a way of capturing the essence of a plant, a flower, when they're at their most potent. So you pop them, I mean there's two ways, schools of thought, and I can't remember the name of the other one, but the one I'm doing is called the folk method, which is a bit more like winging it. So you just pick the flower or the plant and you hoy it in, and then you top it up with either alcohol or vinegar or glycerin. And what that does is that just, and then you store it for 6 to 8 weeks. And what that does is that in that time, the alcohol or whatever it is that you're using extracts all of the goodness from the plant. And then you strain away the alcohol from the plants that you have in there, and then you can pop them normally in a darker glass jar, and then you get the full benefit of the herbal properties from the plant, but in liquid form. What I'm going to do, and this is what a lot of people do, is I'm going to make this Hawthorn flower tincture now in May, so in the spring, and then in the autumn I'm going to take the berries, hawthorn berries, and make a tincture out of the berries in the autumn. And then what a lot of people do is combine them, because hawthorn is supposed to be really good for your heart, so it's like a really good heart tonic. What Rosemary Gladstar really emphasises in her book, and what I'm going to, like I say, not a tutorial, but what she emphasises and what I'm going to emphasise as well is that this is as an accompaniment to Western medicine. So not to, throw away all your tablets, but to use it alongside conventional Western medicine. So this is what I think I'm going to be doing for the next little while. Quite nice, really. Just take a moment, do something a bit slower and gentler. So much of the spring, of this part of the spring anyway, May, is just racing around trying to get all the garden jobs done. So it's very nice to do something a little bit slower. And I've got a bit of an announcement as well. I've been really enjoying making videos for you since September, showing you all the different things that I like to get up to at Blackthorn Cottage. And it's been really lovely building a community of like-minded people. I've so enjoyed chatting to you all about your gardens and what you're getting up to in your studios. So I've decided to start a Patreon channel as well. For those of you who don't know what Patreon is, it's a membership channel where you pay a monthly subscription for extra content. I've decided to just make the one tier that I'm calling the Studio Journal, and each month I'll share a handful of written posts and videos for those of you who would like to see a little bit more of our world. It will be a place to document the changing seasons and the developments in my studio. And I think I'll show you a little bit more of Northumberland as well, go into detail about the plans for the mega shed, which are very exciting, as well as lots of seasonal thoughts, photographs, and little moments that don't always make it into a full YouTube video. Now, I really want this to be sustainable, so it's not going to be overly polished or overwhelming, just a little bit more behind the scenes for those of you who are enjoying my videos and would like to support this small business that I am building here in Northumberland. So what I'll do is I'll pop a link in the description to my Patreon channel, and if you're interested, pop over there and have a look. I've made a welcome post explaining a little bit more about it, and there's a video there as well. And the first official post is going out tomorrow if you're interested. But if this isn't for you, no worries at all. Nothing's going to change here. I'll still be making my monthly videos. I'm enjoying making them so much. So yeah, just a little bit extra if you're interested in seeing a bit more of Blackthorn Cottage. But I just want to say thank you to all of you for supporting me here on YouTube. I really, really appreciate it. I feel so lucky to have found a really kind, friendly corner of the internet, which can be such a kind of scary place. But I just feel like this is a very friendly place. So I'm really grateful for that. And as always, I've really enjoyed reading about what you guys have been up to in your gardens over the past month. So please keep sharing every month with me what you're up to in your gardens. Are you making any tinctures? Please, as well, if you're an expert, please give me lots of tips, because this is something that I want to learn a lot about. So yeah, if you're someone who practices herbal medicine, please tell me all your top tips. I'd really appreciate it. But while I do this, because I'm going to be a little while, I think I'm actually going to have to go and pick some more as well, which is kind of mad. But while I do this, let me show you what I've been up to in the garden over the past few weeks. Now that the garden is full of flowers again, I've been really enjoying practicing making arrangements. And making sure that I don't film them all, just making them sometimes just for myself, which is important, I think. I've got quite an exciting new project starting next month, which I'll be able to tell you about in my next video. But I need to practice making bouquets for that one, so I've been making a lot of spring bouquets. This one had tulips and narcissi and nepeta and red campion, lots of lovely smelling things. This one was just for me. And then the leftover tulips I just plonked in this vase. Tulips just get better and better with age, don't they? I love how they look when they're all blousy and blown open like this. They're so interesting. Hey, so I'm in the greenhouse potting up lots and lots of seedlings. It's at that stage in the year where there's lots of seedlings outside ready to be planted out, and there's lots in here that need pricking out and potting on. So that's what I'm going to do today. Got a little bit more top dressing to do because I had to order some more compost. So I need to do that and then get the seedlings that are hardened off outside and in the ground. And I'm starting to harden off my dahlias as well, which is quite exciting. Put this down. Those are lots of zinnias. These are, I think... Oh no, they're not. These are Zinnia Polar Bear and Zinnia Luminosa, which have done pretty well. But yeah, so I've got all of my dahlias have done really, really well because I put them, went to my mother-in-law Kate's house, and she's got very big windows upstairs that are south facing. So I used her windowsills to pop my dahlias on, and they've done so well. Makes such a difference. So some of them are still in here and they're a bit smaller, and you can just put your dahlias straight into the ground. So some people do that. I did that last year because I didn't have a lot of time. So last year I just took the tubers, which are these funny things here, and I just planted them straight into the ground, and they did fine. They all came up, but it just takes a little bit longer. So you might remember in my second last video, so not the one that came out, yeah, the March video, I was potting up all my dahlias, and I took them to Kate's house and put them on her windowsills, and they've done very well. And so I've got the more established ones are outside at the minute, hardening off, and then these guys I'm just giving a little bit longer in the greenhouse. And then I've also been taking some cuttings as well. So what you can do with cuttings is you can take, there's a few ways of doing it. One thing I'm trying for the first time is lots of plants you need to pinch out the top, and so Sarah Raven's got a good phrase, which is if in doubt, pinch out. So it's like the majority of plants really appreciate being pinched out, because what it does is it encourages bushier growth. So rather than just the plant putting all of its energy into going up, it puts energy into creating branching stems going out. So very good thing to do. But what you can do with dahlias, which I've never done before but I'm trying this year, is when you pinch them out, you can plant them into compost and make a new plant, which is very cool. So I'm trying that for the first time and see if that works. But I'm also doing a cutting, and a cutting, what you do is you cut it off with a tiny little bit of the tuber on the bottom of it still, and then just pop that into a bit of compost with vermiculite, and yeah, and then that'll turn into a whole new plant. And that's a really good way of getting new dahlias. So dahlias are really cool. I can't remember if I talked about them that much in that video, because I was having some real technical issues in that video. My camera lens was, no, it was my microphone. So the last video the camera lens broke, and the one before that the microphone broke. So a little bit stressful. So I think I cut out quite a bit of me talking about greenhouse making noises. I cut out quite a bit of me talking about dahlias because the sound was really off in it. But with dahlias, so they come as tubers, and that's how you get dahlias to come back true. So if you plant a tuber, and you can divide tubers, so when the tubers have been in the ground for a few years, they get really big, and you can chop them in half, just making sure that you've got an eye on the tuber. And so that's one way of duplicating your tubers. And the other way is by taking cuttings, like I just described, and then you get the dahlia will come back true to whatever variety that is. So this is Cornell Bronze, which is a very nice one. So that'd be a way of duplicating lots of Cornell Bronzes. But what you can do is when they are starting to produce flowers, if you let them go to seed and then you harvest the seeds, each one of those seeds produces a completely new dahlia, and they'll look like relations to Cornell Bronze, so they'll have similar attributes and same sorts of colours, but they'll look quite different. And that's how you create brand new kinds of dahlias. And so if you do that, so if I grow Cornell Bronze, and then when it's producing lots of flowers, kept the seeds, and then planted those seeds, and then grow them next year, and see which ones of those I like, and then I keep those tubers, and you can divide the tubers eventually, take cuttings from them, and that's how you create brand new varieties of dahlias, which is very, very cool. So yeah, that's my plan for the rest of the day. Planting things out, potting things up. Still got little bits and bobs of top dressing, and there's 3 beds that need edging still, so I'll need to do that. And these, so once I've cleared these, all of these hardened off seedlings, once they're all in the ground, then I can start hardening off all of my spring sown, find you a good one, spring sown sweet peas. Now these have all been pinched. So I pinched these out last weekend, and then these are going to get hardened off and these will go in the ground. And my autumn sown sweet peas have all been planted as well. So they're getting quite high. There's some little tiny little sweet peas flowers just starting to come out on them, which is exciting. So yeah, such a good time of year, isn't it? Really, really exciting. But I'm going to crack on now, and before the rain comes, because it looks like it's going to absolutely pour with rain any minute. And yeah, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye. I've been enjoying picking the last of the narcissi. They really do last for such a long time, and they are one of the hardiest of all of the bulbs, so they're not susceptible to disease in the way that tulips are, and mice don't seem to eat them, or deer. So yeah, they're just the best. And they bloom from March until May, which is fantastic. But they're pretty much over in the garden now. My dad very kindly came over to help me hang up my sweet pea netting. As you can see, it's a bit precarious, so I didn't want to do it on my own in case I fell off the ladder. And then he very kindly cut the grass for me, which is very sweet. Then after that, it was just a matter of tying in the sweet peas. These are the autumn sown sweet peas. And then it was back to top dressing, so adding compost to all of the flower beds which are now edged. And then all of my seedlings can be getting planted out over the next few weeks. May is such a busy month in the garden. It's nice when you can see it all coming together though. Hey, so it's the next day and I have finished my tincture. It's so beautiful already. The colours change so much. In the end, I had to go out and pick a load more Hawthorn flowers because I didn't have anywhere near enough. And then that evening, last night, me and Johnny sat and watched a film, and we went through and picked all the flowers and popped them in, and it was a really fun job to do. Just watching something and having something to do with your hands is quite nice, isn't it? And so I'm going to pop this into a dark cupboard. The jury seems to be out a little bit online as to whether or not that's necessary at this stage, but just to be sure, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to leave it for 6 to 8 weeks and see how it looks sort of later in the summer. And then, got to give it a shake as well. So once a day I'm going to take it out and just give it a bit of a shake. And I want to see if these, if the flowers start to fall down a little bit, because you don't want them to be too much out of the surface at the top. But they seems to be mostly under the surface. But I think what you can do is put like a tiny bit of parchment paper over the top if it's still floating on the surface in a few days' time. But quite a lot of it has fallen down since yesterday. But yeah, really, really cool. I enjoyed it so much. I need to put a label on it. Label when I made it and what it is. And then on to the next one. I think the next one I'm going to make is stinging nettles, because stinging nettles are really good for seasonal allergies, which I sometimes get. I sometimes get hay fever in the summer. So I think I'll make that one next. And I've just been out in the garden this morning picking what I was in my head. So on Instagram and Pinterest recently, I've been seeing lots of really dainty, sort of ethereal looking arrangements that have been catching my eye. Because every time I look out the window, the new flower border I've made, and seeing the bistort and against the geraniums, and there's a few like plant combinations at the minute that every time I spot them in the garden, I think, oh, I really like the look of that. So I thought I'll pick those things and try and make a nice dainty arrangement. And then I ended up just going for all the pinks. So I just went with that. It was what I was drawn to today. And some purpley sort of darker colours as well, but mostly all in that pink, in the pink family. So I think that's my plan for the next little while, is to make a nice dainty pink arrangement using these flowers. And using this bowl that I really like, and it's just got an extra large pin frog in the bottom. And ever since I did that course with Sarah from Simply by Arrangement, I've been trying to use less chicken wire and just using pin frogs instead, because she said that was better in terms of precision and not relying too much on other structural things. I think in big arrangements it's good to use chicken wire though. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this month. Thank you so much for watching, and stick around to the end because I've got a little few bits of clips from the holiday I had with my friend a few weeks ago up the Northumberland coast. We had such a lovely time. Absolutely beautiful. And I think what I'll do now is, because otherwise this video is going to be incredibly long, I will have a little play with these flowers, and at the very, very end I'll put in a little bit of video of what I end up making. So thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and a subscribe, and pop over to Patreon and have a look at that welcome post that explains a little bit more about what I'm going to be getting up to on Patreon. And my very first official Patreon post is going to be going out tomorrow. So hopefully see some of you there. And if not, I look forward to seeing you back here next month with another monthly vlog. So yeah, here are some clips from my holiday up the beautiful Northumberland coast. Thank you. See you soon. Bye. So at the very end of April, I went with my friend Maeve to stay up the Northumberland coast. Maeve is a friend from university, and she had never visited the Northumberland coast, so it was really lovely to get to show her all my favourite walks and beaches. The Northumberland coast is very empty and beautiful. So often you go and you have whole beaches to yourself. which is really wonderful. And it was Neville's first time visiting the sea, which was really fun. I love taking dogs to the beach. Something about sand just makes them go so mad, doesn't it? The sea's always very wild, so I didn't fancy a swim. But it was nice to let the dogs run free. And every day we went for long walks and ate really delicious food and spent a really good time catching up because I hadn't seen her for quite a while. And then I took her to Holy Island, to Lindisfarne, which is one of my favourite places in the whole world. And we got the best weather that day, which was great. We went for a beautiful walk to my favourite beach, which we had all to ourselves. It was the most beautiful weather. We did so well. And we had a bit of a picnic on the beach before heading back before the tides changed. And every day we managed to be outside in the garden in the house we were staying in. And we even got to do some sunbathing too, which is quite rare in Northumberland. And here is the spring arrangement that I made. All of the delicate flowers from the garden and the very last of the narcissi. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.